Hey everyone, Geraldine Christie here with Team Everest, and today is Tuesday, September 29th. What I wanted to do today, due to some scheduling issues, we went ahead and are going to record the content for today's call. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is basically attracting and engaging customers, new customers on social media, specifically Facebook. And what we're going to do is really hone in on some common mistakes that are made, and then also on some best practices. Okay, so get your pencils ready, your pens ready. All right, here we go. So here are some no-nos. All right, so number one, using Facebook, your profile page, okay, using your profile page to promote business. That is a no-no. Now, does that mean you can't talk about what you're doing and sharing that kind of stuff with your followers? Of course not. You can certainly do that. But in regards to posting anything that's business related, sharing your link to your, Team Beachbody page, lots of stock photos of Beachbody, that kind of thing, you really want to be careful of that, because Facebook really doesn't like that, and they can definitely shut you down for promoting a business on your profile page. So yes, we can do that attraction marketing. We can talk about how Beachbody is affecting our life and so on, but we really want to be careful about how far we go with that, because it's definitely a fine line, okay? And people can definitely rat you out. I mean, there are some people who, whether they're your enemies or your frenemies or whoever they are, they can definitely rat you out, and Facebook can shut you down, okay? Number two, mass adding people into groups or events that don't ask to be added. Now, we know I've been added several times to eyelash parties and to, jamboree I mean, all kinds of companies do this, and this is not a good practice. People don't like it. It irritates them, and you can be flagged and actually be put on probation with Facebook. So don't do that. All right. Have them even with, and I still am not really good at this, but you really should have them click a link and ask to join your challenge groups. That's one way, a step further to just be a little bit more cautious. Okay. Number three, mass adding of friends, which means sending out friend requests to people you don't know, or people that, and obviously we want to meet new people, but people you have no connection to. Be really, really careful, because if you have so many non-accepted, if they're just still out there in Facebook land and they're in this quay, and they're just not being accepted, they add up. And the more that those add up, Facebook then gets flagged, and they start to look at your activity, and you could be put on probation for that as well, or Facebook jail, okay? So you want to be really careful about how many you add. Usually 2 a day, but keep a list of who you're adding, and if they're not accepting your friend request, go back and take back that request, because again, the ones that really get you in trouble are not the ones that accept you, but the ones that don't, and they're just out there. You want to get rid of those, okay? All right, because I think you are permitted about 5,000 friend requests on your profile page. So yeah, less than 5 a day is ideal, and if they don't accept it, take it back. Number four, having too many groups where you're the admin. So if you are the admin of several groups, you will want to either remove yourself as the admin, of course that leaves the group in place, or you can go ahead and delete every single member of that group once you're finished with the group. If it's a new challenge group like we do, I have to do this for this last few challenge groups we've done. Go back and delete several challenge groups back, and then once I'm the last person in the group, you delete yourself, and then the group disappears, which is what you want. So being an admin of too many groups can definitely cause a red flag as well, and can cause Facebook to actually limit you from being able to post in any groups for a period of time, and there's no rhyme or reason. Facebook can say for a week or for 3 months. There really is no set time, so you really just want to be careful, okay? And then using music in your videos. Facebook loves videos when they're organic and post to Facebook. But if they see that you're using music, even if it's not a long video, you're using music, even if it's just your story and it's an original piece, like a popular song, they will cite you for copyright and will pull it down. Now, if you use something that's not and they think it is, you can certainly debate that with them. But if you know yourself, you're using music, that is not, that is original and copyrighted, then they'll pull your stuff. So find royalty-free music, find things that you can use, whether it's on iMovie or whatever, that you can use and that should not be flagged by Facebook, okay? They say there's a 15-second rule, but I wouldn't trust it. Just be real careful. Okay. And then best practices to build your brand on social media. So we're going to continue to move on and look at a little bit more of the positive. Okay, so number one, treat your social platforms professionally, but know they're all different. Okay, Facebook is its own animal. All right, so learn the party and come dressed appropriately. You cannot treat Facebook like Instagram, nor like Twitter, nor like YouTube, or any of the other platforms, Periscope, etc. Okay, they're different animals and they need to be treated as such. So number two, you want to attract people that you don't already know to grow your business. So we often, and I'm guilty of it too, we talk to our local crowd. We talk to people like, hey, going to the football game this weekend, who's coming? Or you know me, I'm always doing this, or I've had this issue for months. But you know what? You're supposed to be reaching out to people you don't know to grow that base. And so by you really focusing in on letting every post, letting people know what you're about and not saying, well, you know me, but actually reintroducing yourself and sharing with people as if it's the first time you've ever spoken to them. That's going to help build out and not just talk within your little circle, because that's what you want to do. You want to get to know new people that know you in a different way and don't have any background on you from what you did as a child or who you were in high school. And sometimes that's where a lot of our strongest business and customers and coaches and so on come from, because they know you in the business sense and who you are now as opposed to who you were before. Okay? So number three, you need to have a page. And this is something that I held off on and I'm really looking to change. I mean, I have a page and I've been doing a no-no, which I'm going to share with you in a minute, which is duplicating content. And I stopped doing that for a while and I started doing it again and just staggering times a little bit. But that's not good. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But you really need to have a page, or what used to be called a fan page or a like page or even a business page. Your profile page is sort of, you automatically get that when you sign up for Facebook, okay? But beyond that, if you're going to promote your business, you have to have a page or a like page. And why is that? The main reason is tracking, all right? Because you need to figure out if you're spending your money and your time in marketing. You need to know, who's looking at your stuff and when they're looking at your stuff. And, basically this is what we need to really hone in on our niche or our target market, all right? Figures out, which posts are good, who our niche market is, or when the best time of day, for your people to be on your page, their age demographic, their interests, all those things. Facebook wants you to know on that like page because they want you to spend money on their ads. And using ads is beneficial if you figure out how to use those insights to really craft proper posts and posting at the right time. So you kind of have to pay to play, so to speak, but it really is going to make what you do, the time, the money you spend, all of that much more worthwhile if you're focusing in with the like page and following those insights, okay? Okay, so when you post, number 4, when you post, it must be quality. And we've talked about this before, okay? You really need to be getting engagement from your Facebook posts. So, you want it to get in people's news feeds. And it won't if people aren't engaging with that post fairly recently after you posted it. Okay, so they need to be clicking, liking, commenting, sharing on it. And that gets it into other people's news feeds. Facebook sees it as a value and they want to promote that. Okay, so you need to create content that's shareable, that people like, that people want to hear from you. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you names of 2 experts that you can start following, looking at their material, their training, and so on. Mari Smith was hired actually by Facebook because she was so knowledgeable, and so she's been hired to train and teach their people at Facebook because she's an expert. And then another expert that I am currently following and working on with some other things like a lead magnet, opt-in pages, those kinds of things, is Amy Porterfield, and she's wonderful as well. So those 2 people, definitely get them on your radar. Start looking at their material. Number 5, this is the biggie, and this is the one that I am the stage that I'm in and getting ready to do, and it can be scary, but moving people over from your profile page to your page, your business page, your like page. Okay, and that can really be a scary thing, but there's some ways that you need to work up to it, and then we'll talk really quickly about how to make that happen, okay? So first of all, what is value? All right, we talked about posting valuable content, all right? So what are some things that you can do? Number 1, you want to post maybe your opt-in page for your freemium, a sign-up form for a challenge group, sharing different basically different content that people are looking to you for. So for example, ask these 3 questions of yourself. What do people ask me all the time? What am I really good at? And what am I known for? Those are some 3 basic questions. You can ask more, but those will get you started, okay? And that's really what you want, is to start creating content based around those things. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. Facebook hates the word Periscope, the P word, and YT, YouTube. Don't put YouTube links in your posts or mention the word Periscope. You can talk, if you're going to do a Periscope, podcast, or not podcast, but a Periscope presentation. I don't even know what they're called. Then with that, you want to make sure you're saying, hey, I'm going to be talking about this topic at such and such a time, and maybe provide a picture with the Periscope information on it. If you're going to add a video, put it directly into Facebook, which is called organic videos, and Facebook loves those. If you are going to use a YouTube link or a link that takes you away from Facebook, make sure it's in the comment section of that post and not in the post itself, okay? Because that way then it won't get in the way of Facebook putting it out there on those news feeds, all right? All right, and again, something that just to keep in mind, don't feel like you have to try and talk about things you're not an expert in. If you don't have certifications or you don't have, different trainings on certain topics, don't feel like you have to be an expert in those. Definitely share material of people you trust and people you follow for those things. That's probably going to be your best bet. You don't want to appear to be something you're not, okay, or promise something you're not. So here's the formula for adding value. If you just don't know what to post on days where you just, like Facebook amnesia, like you just don't know what to share content-wise, if you've got 3 posts a day, pick and choose from some of these. So number 1, your own video. Could be about anything, what you're struggling with and how you're getting through it. Top 5 tips to do, this, something about your workout that day. It can be anything like that, okay? Number 2, motivational or inspirational posts. And it doesn't have to be about fitness and health only. It can be about just everyday life, about spirituality, mindset, relationships, so on, okay? You can just grab a pic from something that you've taken on your phone, put it into an app, whether it's WordSwag or, use PicMonkey on the computer, whatever, and add one of your favorite quotes on there and post it. Boom. Great post. Number 3, pass on something you found on someone else's page that you trust, Dave Ramsey, Entree Leadership, anybody that Darren Hardy, whatever, anything you love, share their content. If you find a cool tip or a neat, household organizational thing, which I love, learning those things. If you find something like that, share it. Share other people's content. And again, if you see something shared a lot, you can still share it, but you're not going to get quite the same affinity with that. But if you share something and you're one of the first people or one of the first few people to share it, that's going to give you a lot more traction and get you a lot more affinity because it's something people are liking and clicking and sharing, and you started it. So that's a really good thing. Number 4, share a pic, or a how-to or a fun tip, whether it's a picture or usually being able to add a picture always helps, even if it's just a short word tip. Number 5, recognition posts are great, whether it's with your challengers, your coaches, someone in your family, even something like a celebration, like an anniversary, or like recently my daughter was baptized this weekend, and I shared that video, and I haven't looked today, but it had like 119 or 120 likes already with some comments. So things like that, people love to celebrate with you. Number 7, something like did you know, or some kind of fun fact, or even number 8, something funny, obviously you don't want anything vulgar, but something funny is, a great thing to have and share. Okay. So again, something to keep in mind is consistency. Facebook is going to change all the time. Facebook is just constantly changing. It changes its algorithms, its rules, what it likes, what it doesn't like. And you really just have to be consistent and try to stay on top of those things, but constantly posting and being true to your brand. That's going to help you big time. All right. Just some other quick tips. You don't want to always treat your page, and I mean your like page, all right? You don't want to always treat it like business all the time. Yes, you want to be professional, but you don't want to be all business all the time, simply because you come off as a salesperson. People want to know that you're real, that you're like them, that you struggle still, and that you're a helpful person. It's real life on Facebook. You just want to make sure that it's not too much information, that you're not a drama queen, and that you're not a negative Nelly. Okay, so that's super important. All right. Now, again, how do you move people from your Facebook profile to your new page, to your like page? There's a couple things you can try. It is somewhat scary, but it's something that I'm going to be doing here soon. And you can actually have your profile page go dark. And so you create your banner and maybe your profile picture and maybe put an X through it and say move to this location with your Facebook address on there, your like page address. You can have it black and white and just stop posting for a while and just make it very dark, like you have just gone. Make it go away, so to speak, okay? Again, this was something I talked about a minute ago. If you're putting the same content on both pages, they're not going to go to your like page, and this is what I've been doing. So this is something I'm going to start changing. If I put really great content out there, it's going to go on my like page. I'll mention it on my profile page as I start to wean down spending the amount of time on my profile page, because I have a lot of people there, but I really want to start moving them over to that like page. Let's see, again, change that cover photo, and you can tease them from time to time on your profile page if you decide to completely make that break and go from your profile to your like page. So you could say something like, you won't believe these 10 tips I just posted on XYZ, whatever that might be. Check out here on my like page to see this awesome info or whatever. And just little things that you might want to remind them you're there, but they want to check you out over here, okay? So again, some other quick little tips. When you post, if you can at all, try to stick around for a few minutes, because those people that comment right away, if you comment back, that's engagement, that's more activity, that's going to get you higher up in the newsfeed. So if you can stick around and have a conversation back and forth with some people, that's ideal. We've talked about auto scheduling, which is wonderful to have to keep that consistency if you do work full time or you can't post during your ideal times. But keep in mind, you don't want to rely on this solely, because there are times where Facebook really doesn't like too much auto scheduling and your post will not be seen. So it's okay to use it when you need to use it, but especially in groups and things like that where people are generally prone to go to the group anyway to check things out, you really don't want to auto schedule too much using Hootsuite or Edgar or Sendable or whatever program you may use for that. Just something to keep in mind, if you are opening up a brand new like page, you haven't done it yet, I do recommend using your name, not your name fitness, not something cute and funky. You really want to keep your name, because what if down the road this isn't what you're doing? You really want to brand yourself and not any kind of, like Geraldine Christie Beachbody or Beachbody Coach. Like, you really want to brand yourself. And if your brand slightly changes with regards to what you offer, it's nice to have your like page as your name. All right. And you could put yourself as a public figure, whatever. I wouldn't recommend community, because that kind of sounds a little weaker. but it could be, business, fitness business. It can be public figure, whatever you want to do. All right. So that's basically what I wanted to share with you. A lot of the content, again, I've gotten from other people, of course, but just digging in and looking at how I can improve my social media presence, how I can start to make those changes that I've been uncomfortable to make, like moving my almost 2,000 people over to my like page. That's going to be a challenge, but I really want to start doing that. And sometimes it's just tweaking a couple things and following advice of our mentors that sometimes we just are stubborn to take. So I know a lot of this you may already know, but sometimes a good reminder is helpful. And sometimes, you might hear something and you're just in a different mindset to accept it and actually apply it, because training is wonderful, but it does nothing if you don't apply it. And again, I speak from experience. I've heard a lot of this before, and just because of my comfort level or where I've been at in my business, I've just not been ready to take it and use it to my benefit. So hopefully that helps you guys. I'm excited to hear what you guys think and what tips you might take and really run with yourself, with your business and your page. If you have any questions, make sure you post on our team page, and I will see you guys again soon. Have a good night.